Good morning, OBC Radio. My name is Coy Rosen, and you're listening to the Story Podcast. Today, I have on a super awesome guest. But before we get into that, if you really like what I'm doing here, please be sure to like, follow, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to us. If you're on TikTok, follow us, share our content. If you really want to help us get up in the rankings, be sure to rate us on Spotify, review us on Facebook, and review us on Apple Podcasts. It really does help us out. And pay attention for our first ever single album review coming out this Sunday with co-host Liam Galliano. It was a really awesome time with completely different artists, and I'm really excited for you guys to see that. Today, I have on Bones Culture. Ben Oakes was born and raised in Chicago in a house much like the show Shameless. In middle school, he moved to PA to where Delaware, Maryland, and PA meet. It was then a tiny, one-light farm town, West Grove. Then Ben bounced back and forth until high school, where he was classmates with Bam in Westchester. After going to an art school outside of Boston, Ben spent most of his adult life in Philly. Instead of buying a guitar amp to join a punk band, Ben left the music store with a drum machine and Alesis HR16b. The first rapper Ben produced is now his brother-in-law. In his 30s, Ben posted Craigslists ads for rappers and singers and crossed the country producing indie, mostly beginner artists. Ben moved to Lancaster directly from LA, where he was producing pop acts 5 years ago, and shortly after, he quit drinking. When the pandemic hit, Ben produced a compilation album of mostly local artists and some from his international musical collaboration collective, Bones Culture. Every 2 or 3 years since, Ben releases a Bones Culture compilation. This is one of those years. Ben just released his first spoken word album, the debut of Circumstantial Saint, who we also have on. Whoop! Local artivist Sir Dominique Jordan, inspired and was heavily recorded and involved and featured on 4 of these songs. For the rest of 2022, Ben plans on releasing a solo reggae album and finishing this year's Bone Culture compilation. You can check them out on Spotify, bonesculture.com, and links them and YouTube, and all of those links are in the description, I should say. How you guys doing today?
Good, good. Pretty good. Thanks so much for having us. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I'll start with you, Ben. Where did your love for music start?
Luckily, I think like most people, it started from my mother. She was playing music all the time, like Motown. So it's what I remember for as long as I can remember.
And so what did that grow into?
From Motown, easily like, I started getting babysat. Say in the late '80s by women. You know, I was from Chicago, South Chicago, and so we would go like roller skating. So the babysitters and roller skating, we heard like the dawn of hip hop.
That's
Right when the first came out, that was when kind of I was born. I was kind of raised with it.
that's awesome. How about you, Circumstantial Saint?
The same kind of goes for me. I grew up with my mother singing, and my uncle was a rapper. My grandfather was his manager and co-signed for him. So I grew up listening to my mom always belting out, and I was heavily involved and interested in music from the time I was very young. But more from a music critic standpoint, I always would I'd watch TRL and write down all the different videos of the countdowns every day and compare them and compare the singles and how it was marketed and the
Mm,
sounds of things. That was where my love for music was put, but just appreciation for all genres. Yeah.
that's awesome. So Ben, what did you do with your love of hip hop? Where did that take you? How did you become a beat maker and stuff like that?
Well, I was just thinking about like how did I start like what planted that seed where I could thought I could make it. I'm not sure. One uncle when I was growing up, he had a studio, and we all lived together. My had 7 aunts and uncles, and we all lived in my grandfather's house on my mom's side in Pennsylvania, in Downtown first before moving
Mm.
to Westchester. And one of the rooms was full of synthesizers. Like he was signed. He was in like a synth pop band. He was signed to his label, and remember like I wasn't allowed to go in there, or else I would get caught. He caught me in there one day, and instead of like yelling at me, he kind of sat me down and showed me how to twist knobs and let me play with it for a little bit. That was nice.
That's awesome. And was it then that you started making your own beats, or?
No, because that was when I was much younger. I can't really. I don't know why. I can't to this day figure out why. Because like this punk band wanted me to join them, so I had to buy an amp to join the band. And that day I just decided to leave with. I walked in the door and it was right there in the glass case, his drum machine. It was a used one, and I just was there looking for amps, and I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I just heard Digable Planet's Cool Like That, which is
Mm.
weird that I'm actually now not friends, but I know the guy now, Craig,
Wow.
and we chat, and he always gives me encouragement to this day, which to me is mind blowing. It's
Yeah.
still because he that was like it was jazzy. Like the first hip hop was kind of like all synth and stuff, which
Right.
was fun, it was cool, but it didn't really catch me. It wasn't until like they started chopping up like jazz, like Tribe Called
I was
Quest,
just
De
about
La
to say that.
Soul,
Yeah, De
yeah,
La
like
Soul.
that's what really caught me. But I don't know why I thought I could do it. I don't
Hmm.
know.
How
Well,
about
you're
you?
definitely doing
Yeah,
it.
you're definitely doing it. That's one thing, and
Thank,
that's
thank
the
you.
hardest thing to do is to actually get doing it.
Yeah.
How about
My love for hip hop came from my uncle, and just realizing like I never thought that I could or would ever be doing music.
mm,
I just always took pride in my appreciation for music and how it dictated my life. It's because of Ben, um, and his encouragement in me and seeing who I could be. Then I saw who I could actually be myself. And all the things that I've learned and really been involved in when it comes to music my whole life now makes
so? Who are you?
sense. Circumstantial Saint is everything he seeks to become. He already is.
Speaking of that, that's one of your new singles.
It was our last single, yeah.
Last single
It was the last
drop.
single, and it's become like an indie hit.
Yeah.
Talk about the production of that. I have it lined up here.
Um, it's it's a really great story actually. It's like the way we were doing that one was we had did a little shaker track, and then John Talwood and Dominique, they laid their vocals that were really deep and left me really emotional. We were actually recorded in my living room before I had my studio set up, our current studio set up, and there was a room where my last band, like I never thought I'd have a band in my 40s, but when I moved to Lancaster, I met these kids. Shout out to Sam Clayton and I mean Clayton Steve and Sam Walton, rest in peace. They I met him at an open mic, and we started jamming with them, and we started doing these recovery events because we were all in recovery. But sadly, when the pandemic hit, they relapsed and they passed away. Um,
Mm.
but women say like they recorded vocals first, and then I grabbed my bass, which was Sam's bass that his sister gave to me, and I played it a few times, but I hadn't really done much with it, and just just came out, and I was crying and playing, slapping the bass and crying, and then came back and added the piano and was crying during then, and it was a very emotional session.
Those are the best
Yes,
sessions, though.
Oh yeah.
that was
When
the
you're
first time I ever cried in a session.
yeah, when musicians say they put their tears, sweat, blood into it, they literally
Really do,
sometimes whether it
literally.
be calluses breaking
Yes.
or whatever, like they
Hmm.
really do mean it.
Yeah.
So what was the lyrical process for you on this?
So that's a really good question actually, because we didn't have a necessarily a formula to how we created songs. We
One
just
of the
kind of
first ones. Yeah.
organically felt out how it was gonna go. We
Mm.
didn't necessarily have any idea. So with I Am Who, uh, it originally was just a poem, and he had the shakers going. So I just figured out how I would maneuver around the shakers. Other songs, I literally just spat out a cappella, just reading off a poem. This, with the whole album in general, we wanted to find a way to combine poetry and music and make it just flow seamlessly in motion. So the way that this song came together is pretty unique, because there's only a few tracks on the album where I read off a poem to the shaker beat. But those couple of tracks, like this one, I Am Who, and Dust on a Ceiling
Right.
Fan, um, the way that I spit to them is in a different way than the other tracks.
Yeah.
So the way that this came about was off of thinking about. I decided to self-title the album because it gets people thinking. What is circumstantial saint? What is circumstantial sainthood, as I like to say. But it's an affirmation album, so it's talking about guiding you through the shadow work to get you to a place of being a lighter, more whole rounded, well rounded person. So Circumstantial Saint, we actually have a title track on the album, which gets a little deeper into who I am, but I Am Who is just simply asking that question. Not for me, but for you. I know who I am, and I'm going to tell you, but who are you?
Be like supposed to be reading along with it as a song.
Mm-hmm.
And you wrote this poem.
Yes.
With that said, this is I Am Who by Circumstantial Saint.
Who? Who am I? I am everything I seek to become. I am king to one. I am all I ever set to please. My love is my free. I am all the lights and the stars and all the bubbles on the beach. I am what I crave, cause what I crave is me. I am the fruit from the seed. I was the womb, but the womb set me free. I came from the fire of past lives long gone. Don't look back. Your eyes will burn and you will miss important knowledge unknown. I came to help hold the line, and they thinking I came to reign. But my will and patience is what can change the game. Again, I came from the fire of past lives long gone. I am a flame. I am a flame. But I am rain, I am growth, cause the fruit came from the seed. I said, I am all I need. I am who? I am you. Did you ask you? Who are you? Who I am is who I am, and who I be is who I be. And if you feel in the need to leap, you can lunge to your own needs. I am a believer of being free, including me. I am all I need to be in this now and the forever, because how I move is an intention. How I move is with minimum reflection, only for a reminder of who I am, which is part of who I was. I know, I am, but you are? I am, but you are? I am who? I'm the guy that is or isn't on cue. I'm the guy that is hesitant to be rude. I'm the guy who likes old and new. I'm the guy that is just me, not few. I am a lot, and I am not. What is your perception? I am all the things you don't see. You have to feel, you have to breathe. I am, what were you asking? Again, who are you? Let me tell you again. I am pain and rain, sunshine through perseverance, the cherry on a butter pecan sundae, banged head and bruised heart, mental compass on point, like I am music and fusion. I am art, the traveler, nomadic historian of random knowings. I am mountains and valleys, thunder and lightning, fire and winter, activated to write, encouraged to speak, emboldened to free. I am, cause my people need me. I am here, that is who I am. I am now, that is who I am. I am present, I am doing, I am moving, I am experiencing. That is who I am. I am experiencing.
Are you perseverance or are you purpose? You see, your why is worthless if you can't believe in the idea that everything happens not for a reason, but just the way it should be. And the universe shows us all that destiny is all too surreal. The imperfect fuse of fact and fantasy amuses the small few that can accept that even when you lose, you actually win. Because that integral attempt to be better than yesterday is literally my muse. That's who I am. We are all inspired by adversity, but must train our minds that the worst one sees just might be that trigger squeeze into eternity. Perspective could be the difference between a legacy or infamy. People that look like me yearn for something to believe in. I believe in you. Please believe in me. To give is to gain. To love is to live. And if you ever need a reminder, just know I am that red rose that grew from the concrete. I am army strong, temple strong, but still East Madison Street. Them name brand hand-me-downs I might take. Sweet potato pies and salmon cakes. Too late for my brown folks, too dark for the black jokes. But I'm used to my indifference. Where I'm from, they push you to make it out, which means only a few see the abundance and prosperity in those roses, thorns, and its beauty. I am that dad that needs a reminder with a screensaver as his why. I am that God that even when I fall, I will fly. I am coconut oil and vanilla scents. I am loud conversations and money talks every cent. I've seen tons of violence, tons of success. Believe me when I say, I'm just here to be my best. I am the prolific one.
That was I Am Who by Circumstantial Saint, produced by Ben Oaks. So let's talk about spoken word. What does it mean? How do you do it? How do you do it right? And what's the process behind turning a poem into an art piece?
Yeah, so I like to refer to myself as an affirmations poet musician, who does speak in my music. My album is in a more of a spoken word format. A lot of people would consider it spoken word. I like to refer to myself as an affirmations poet musician because that is what I do.
Mm.
I am a poet by nature. It's what I've always done my whole life. And now that I'm leaning more into doing affirmations, that is part of what I do. It's combining the poetry and the affirmations. The music has become more of an added bonus, and I think more of a way to connect with the greater audience. And music speaks to everyone. It unites everyone. It's a universal language, and the kind of things that I speak about, whether it's really hard topics that a lot of people don't want to talk about or deal with, or if it's something lighter that is to some people too positive. Anyone can find a nice medium in my music. Spoken word to me is for Black and brown people. We have always found poetry and spoken word as a default way of translating our experience, and it's our way of conveying it to the world. Art, spoken word, poetry has really taken off mainstream with a lot of just indie in general, but with Black and brown people in general, it has really taken off.
There's big scene here in town and around the country.
Right.
There's a vibrant scene.
I've become really inspired over the past couple
That's
of
what-
years,
that's
and emboldened to take a look at myself and say, okay, Jontel, there's a lot that you have to offer, and there's a lot of things that make up you that is reflective in your work that could be put out to a broader audience. For me, spoken word is literally experience. It's not just words, it is experience. Because when you're speaking with a certain tone, with a certain inflection, with a certain gusto, with certain words or certain phrases that other people cannot do, it's unique to you. That's art. That's the epitome of art. Something that is unique to you that you can give to the world that no one else can do like you.
No, I agree with you there, because I can say, go to the store. Or you can say, go to the store.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the store.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say that completely differently with your even just the sound of your voice has that. By the way, you have a really great radio voice. I'm enjoying it in my ear.
I got lost in it.
Yeah, so it's like, oh my gosh.
Keep talking.
Keep talking. That's right. And it's because you might have somebody who has a really shrill voice who could say the same thing, but it's gonna mean something completely different to somebody else because it's might be hard to listen to, versus a silky smooth voice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's yours. It's yours, and then the words you make are also yours, and then the inflections you choose to make are also yours, and you get to impart that onto other people.
Yes. It's beautiful because it speaks a whole different language in its own. And I think that's what a lot of people love about spoken word is they can pick up on those different inflections and things that we turn over on its head to speak a whole nother story that the words themselves may not explain.
Mm-hmm. So this track has actually done really well for you guys. Yeah. What was it like to wake up one day and be like, oh shoot, this is going places?
First, it was unexpected. I mean, I've learned a bunch of techniques doing do-it-yourself punk shows for when I was younger, and then getting involved in the rave scene, and then getting involved in the underground hip hop scene in Philly for years. So I got to use those, and then I was SEO manager for an internet company for my 30s. So I learned some online marketing and techniques, so we use all these different techniques. And so we did release the one with I have a frequent collaborator named 66 Notes from Des Moines, Iowa. We did it. We got a song from a vault we found, and we released it just as kind of like a joke back in it was May or June, and it started blowing up. And then we weren't really sure what was going to do with this song because the song's something new. It's in spoken word. It's in a different market than I'm usually, and the first couple of reviews actually weren't very nice to us because they're from hip hop, wanting hip hop, and I get it. They wanted upbeat, like disco party music, and then all of a sudden it started. We got 10,000 views like the first day, and then I think it was like 20,000. Then within the first week, we had 40,000 views just on Spotify, and then also on YouTube, and it's feel very blessed, and it kind of I struggle with self-image worth and mental health issues and depression, so it really like hate to say it, but it really like made me feel good, and made me like want to do more and like okay, let's record the whole album now, and stuff like that. It really means a lot, and like I don't take it for granted at all.
Yeah, it's crazy what silly numbers can do to us, right?
Because if you look at numbers, but then they also like I remember, like because they say like have me listening right now, and it'd be like 20 listening at any moment in time. There's 20 people listening to our music.
It's crazy.
That makes me cry. Yeah, it's like it's like people who are being because a lot of people like us. There's 4 people who are want to confront trauma and who want to do some self-help work and to work on ourselves. Because that's what it takes to to be healthy and to be be happy.
That's what it translates to me are those numbers. That's 40 now, I think like 44,000 people, at least what it says now on Spotify alone, that hopefully what we're saying is resonating with them and it's helping them in some way. That is, for me, that's the goal. And I think for Ben too, it's just music is healing, especially for people that have any kind of ailment or dealing with any kind of struggle at whatever period of time. We listen to music for a number of different reasons, but the main thing I think would be that it's very healing.
Yeah, as I see that playing it it got playing it in me, I should say. I went to the Rabbit and Dragonfly, my favorite spot in town, because it's like a place, and I use this term because I am one, where nerds and people who are neurodivergent can feel comfortable there. So hopefully they reopen again. It's Rabbit and Dragonfly on Market Street. That place is great. It's Lord of the Rings and
didn't they close for a while?
They did.
But they reopened.
Rumor is they're opening for first Fridays, and we will be performing there if they do in November.
Yeah,
but now they do open mics every second and fourth Tuesdays.
Dude, when I saw that, I got so happy.
Me too.
Because that was like one of my favorite spots.
You saved my life, and that's why I met everybody that like saved my life. Like I was in LA and I quit the music business. It's a long story we can get to later, but like I quit it. And I was sitting there, and this woman was performing, and she turned to me and was just like, I forget what she said exactly, but it was like music beyond entertainment. And I was like, oh, and just that started resonating with me, and it kind of stuck, and started looking into it. And I had been hired to do like binaural beats before, and to be honest, I was like skeptical about it. But then I used them to quit smoking and quit drinking, and then like last year I had friends who were going through problems, and then just this past spring, and like I sent them some stuff, some sound engineering, sound healing things, and that helped them and it caused connections, and it sort of started this whole like
I was gonna say that was the actual intention.
Of shout out to Shauna Yordi and her Garden in the Light.
Yes,
it's a beautiful place, and we'll be there. Our official listening party is there on October 22nd. We'll be having a poetry open mic. So come share some poems, and then we'll play our album, and then we'll also be performing. And it's gonna be kid friendly. There'll be art supplies, so we're making art. Bring your art supplies if you want. Bring some potluck. It's going to be just people meeting our neighbors in Lancaster at 21 Locust.
It's incredible what music can do because you mentioned how music can heal. Everyone has gone through that time where they had listened to the punk rock song or the emo songs, and it's very, very much so releasing for them.
Yeah.
Or everyone has that one song. For me, it's Michael Bublé's "Feeling Good." It just makes me go, or something like that. It's incredible what music can do and how you can manipulate it to make people but have people reflect on themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what are some upcoming projects that you guys have in store for people who want to hear more?
Yeah, so I have a few upcoming projects. So Circumstantial Saint is actually a 2-part piece. We intended to do a 22 track. 22's
In 1 month.
Yeah. In 1 month, seriously, we did 20.
Every
I
night.
think we did like 24 tracks in that first month. But so we released 14 right off the bat. We will have the remaining 8 on the second half. So if you look at the first half of the album, it is my face with a halo above me and the hometown of where I'm from, Coatesville, Pennsylvania, in the background.
Coatesville. Oh,
Yes,
like
that's where I
Coatesville.
was born and raised up until I was like 13. Then I moved to Wilkes-Barre. But it has the dark and the light representing both sides, duality, talking about what the album is about, shadow work, and dealing with the dark and the light. The second piece is Sainthood is Circumstantial, and it's me with devil horns and dark and light reversed, and Lancaster in the background, because that is now where I am, and I've made a lot of changes. I've been through a lot of changes. I'm not the same person that I was.
Me too. I changed too.
Exactly. So it's a 2-part album, kind of representing that duality. But then we've also got other little singles and EPs and releases that you can grab on Bandcamp that is available for people. Little gems. We like to do different versions and pieces of songs, multiple versions, so people can pick up those little pieces. And we like to drop little gems for people. I do have a thing that I'm working on, which we're calling Poetry for Revolutionaries, which is it's kind of going to be like a live coffee house type of vibe where I'll have like maybe 10 poets come up and we kind of just do a cipher, so to speak. And Ben and I actually have a house club album that we're going to be working on soon, and a remix album.
Or I'd
that we're
never
also
make a
working
house song again.
I still can't believe I got Ben to make a house track, like
Neither can I. Neither
your
can I.
traditional Baltimore club sounding track, spitting affirmations over it. And yeah, no, speaking of, this whole album is very eclectic, and it's a great representation of Ben and I's taste
Yeah.
in fusing
Well, I
it
would say that
together.
because like it's my like life's one of my life's goals is syncopation. I always dream about syncopation, and that's only why. It's also cool music. It makes you want to dance.
Syncopation is a lot of fun. Absolutely. So I'm curious, why Circumstantial Saint?
Great question.
Yeah. Yes.
So I love, everyone knows that I'm very spiritually inclined. I love to talk about astrology. I love to talk about crystals. I love to talk about energy. But I also love to talk about shadow work and how it's important. You can't be positive all the time. If you want to actually be truly positive and pure in that positivity, you have to deal with the mucky, dark stuff. And so Circumstantial Saint is talking about making sure that, look, sainthood is circumstantial. You're not going to be a goody two shoes or great or feeling great or being great all the time. In someone's story, you're going to be the devil.
Yeah.
You're going to be the villain of the story. And you have to be okay with that, because your life is your life. Someone else's life is theirs. For me, I know that I'm not always okay. I know that I'm not always okay to someone else. But I'm going to own all of that because it makes my experience me.
Yeah.
So it's just a reminder for everyone else that, hey, if you trip up, you have a bad day, you're not a good person right now, it's okay. Tomorrow is tomorrow. You can try again tomorrow. So it speaks to the light and the dark in everyone, and kind of is just a reminder that, hey, my music is about taking you through the dark to get to the light.
And it's something you can't dwell on, the fact that, oh, I messed up today, I'm a horrible, awful, god-awful person. It's not,
Right.
that's not true. It's, like you said, the circumstance that you found yourself in today. You can be a light. You can be, but you also can be a dark.
Yes.
And that's okay. You got to find that balance. And if you're a dark one day, you can say, okay,
Yeah.
tomorrow I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's-
We're all works in progress.
Yeah, all works in progress.
Or even moment by moment. Some of us are
Right.
dealing with recovery. Some of us are in remission. Some of us are going through really hard things that we literally have to take moment by moment. And it's like, do you want to milk that bad moment and have a bad day? Or do you want to let that bad moment be that bad moment and have a good day? Or turn it and flip it on its head or you get to the end of the day and say, this is what I learned from today. It wasn't a bad day. It was just an experience.
Stuff that can help you with that is journaling.
Yes.
I'm sure you journal a lot from the stuff.
Yes. Like Ben makes a beat every day. I write every day.
That's a good advice for anybody within any field of yours.
Yes.
If you're
Yes.
beat maker or
Don't
composer,
just wait until you feel like it. Do it every day.
force yourself to do it.
Yep.
That's absolutely right. Schedule out a time for you to do it, no matter what, whether it be prayer or meditation, whether
Yeah,
it be
right.
writing, just writing.
Well, I got that from writing. I was at a writing workshop. The Artist's Way is a book that I encourage everybody who is creative to get. It's called The Artist's Way, written in the 70s. They encourage people to write, do it every single day, whether you're a painter, whether you're whatever you are, to write every morning.
Get that creativeness out of
Yes.
you,
Yeah.
and to stir it up in you. So that helps writer's block.
Yes.
Yes,
well.
it prevents writer's
It
block.
prevents right. Yeah, exactly.
Just-
Because
you
you
do it, and then once you start doing it, you're gonna feel like it. Again,
exactly.
my best beats are done on days I don't even feel like getting out of bed. There's sometimes the best things happen that way.
That's right. And if you don't know what to write about, just start writing.
Yeah.
That's a technique used in acting class where you have a journal and you don't think about what to write. You just write, and then you're slowly, because you're gonna write unconscious things,
Yep.
and unconscious things are gonna come out in your writing. And those are the moments where you really learn about yourself, and when you really, really start to understand who you are.
Yeah. Seriously. A lot of the lyrics and songs for Circumstantial Saint just came about in the studio as we just made a basic beat, and then I just let it flow. I just let the
Yeah.
words come out and just write on a pen. And
We-
some of the songs, like the lyrics, came out in like 15, 20 minutes just because we're just feeling it. And I
Some
don't
songs come
really
out in
think.
a half hour to from song
Yeah,
first to
I
finish.
just literally let my pen just flow.
It's cool because we used a bunch of different like workflows. We didn't use one technique, and that's how I do it in my own personal life. I use multiple different workflows. That's why I never get writer's block or worker's block. And I'm actually I offer services to other creatives, other producers, other whatever. If you want the techniques to get over writer's block, hit me up. And we will, Highwise Multimedia or on Bones Culture.
Speaking
Right.
about Bones Culture, let's talk about that a little bit. Talk about that process. What started that process? You're a co-founder.
Yep, I am. It started by a bunch of different people. It was like I was working at a T-shirt factory at the time, and just wanted to make your own T-shirts. And that's I don't forget how it came up, but the word Bones Brigade. I'm a big fan of that from skateboarding days. You know what I mean? And then just made the design one day and made a batch of 20, and then me and my buddies got hired to back up these rappers in Philly. So we ran the Bones Culture shirts while we're backing up these rappers, and then we got booked to do it again as Bones Culture. I'm like, oh, I guess now we're a band. And then I started posting ads across the country. What was it? That was like 15 years ago on Craigslists, back when it was a real thing and was no spam. And I would get hundreds and hundreds of submissions from every single city. It was overwhelming, but for years I just traveled the country, going from city to city to city, just producing different artists.
Wow.
That's
And
awesome.
that's Bones Culture. And of course, before it became popular with the pandemic, and I'm glad it is now because it's something we've been using for 10 years now, is online collaboration. Someone with me who has extreme anxiety, I never worked with artists in the studio before. This is the first time I've ever had an artist in the studio with me.
Mm.
We made stuff from scratch because usually I make it by myself. So it's all very, very, very new. And it's cool because the way I like to work is that I don't sit there and write the chord progression and have an idea. I just usually just go and just whatever the universe wants to deliver, I'll be a conduit for it.
I think that's what makes our music so unique and so special. Is there really isn't your standard.
Sometimes I'll have
structure to
ideas.
a
Sometimes
song.
I'll have ideas, but
Yeah.
usually it's just
We literally take a
Whatever.
structure of a song and kind of flip it on its head.
yeah. And being open to that is why we're so prolific. It's just we're not
Yes.
rigid and oh, this is what we gotta do, which is fine if you're like that. That's okay if you have a vision and a visionary.
Right.
But we like to be flexible, and then we get more done. And then by doing that, we make decisions quick. We don't linger on okay, does that sound of the piano or that sound or that echo? Just do it, make it,
We
move
do
on.
what we feel. Exactly.
Well, that's another great thing. Do it, make it, move on. Absolutely. I can't tell you how many artists are stuck there in their studio changing one knob that in the end no
for
one else is going
hours.
to ever think about.
Never, but it'd be fun when you're learning and to explore.
It is, yeah.
But come on,
Right.
Put it out there.
Yes,
That's what
I
art
learned
is
from
about.
sculpturing, from
Right.
doing sculpture by sculpture.
It's a
art.
snapshot of your experience.
Make decisions
at that
fast.
moment, and
Make
that's what it should-
decisions.
Yes.
And also, that's what remastering is for.
Right.
Remix.
Right.
Get a remix, baby.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, Who are some of your favorite artists that you've been able to work with as a part of Bones Culture?
I have a song with Snoop Dogg
No way.
on SoundCloud. Check it out. Yeah, I got hired to be a. For a while there, I was a remix engineer. I did remixes professionally for Beastie Boys, Lauryn Hill, Linkin Park, and then I won a contest and I remixed for Snoop Dogg. But see, my remixes it eventually got set back and rejected because I didn't use any parts of the Kid Cudi song. I made my own. My remixes are from scratch, whole different. I make my stuff from scratch. I don't use any elements, so like most people aren't expecting that. But he liked it anyway and released it. So the funny thing was,
Yeah.
I was. He's like, oh yeah, we'll fly you out and you can meet him, meet and greet and everything. But I don't fly, so I took a train. He's like, well, he's going on tour, so you're not gonna meet him. So I had to go all the way there just to get access to his vocals, because he wouldn't email me his vocals, obviously. And then that song counts SoundCloud.
That's
Nice.
crazy.
I don't know what it was released on or anything like that, but it's out there.
That's so crazy. Did you actually get to meet him then?
No,
or?
never
Oh.
met him. Never met you, Calvin. Shout out, hit your boy up. Let's do some reggae, bro.
Dude, that's incredible. How do you even get that opportunity?
It was a thing called Indaba. It was a contest.
Oh, okay.
Just became Indaba Music. Shout out to them. They provided a lot of opportunities for people. I'm not sure if it's still even around, but we used to have contests for producers. It was awesome.
That's so
And then when I was young, 19, I did bongos for Burning Spear, like a legend in reggae, and through him is how I met some other worked with a lot of artists in reggae. So I got in my 20s. I was a reggae producer mostly, reggae art. I did play bass in a bunch of reggae bands in Philly and stuff.
So you compile these in compilations and you release them.
Now I do it as Bones Culture. Yeah, I think we're on. This is going to be our fourth one coming up. We have two of them that are still available. One is lost to the ether, and hard drives. And there used to be a thing called like old websites that have gone down, like IEMA. I think it was on IEMA. But the first Bones Culture compilation is who knows where that is. But the second one is still available. It's called The Full Effect. That's out everywhere. And then my last one is called Sam Sarah. That's available. That's all hip hop.
That's cool. So it's a
Well, hip hop and one Christian reggae band song called Praise with Android Eddie.
Nice.
So you these are all people that you have produced or made beats for or
I will let people know. Do not submit to me because I don't listen to them. I can't. It's just not fair. So these are people that I found for one way or the other. I just had to make it fair to people, and you cannot submit to me. Please don't spam my friends or whatever, please.
I agree with that.
People are messaging my girlfriend trying to. I'm a rapper. Can you just send it to your boyfriend? Please don't do that anymore. I will not listen to you.
Yeah, right. If you want a sure ways for people not to be on your side,
Don't bother me, please.
it's by directly messaging, or even worse, is by messaging.
Come out to open mic at Tell Us. Maybe I'll see you there.
Right, exactly. The best way you're ever gonna get anybody to know you and
Open
to
mics.
actually be there with you is by going to an open mic, going to one of
Open
their
mics.
performances, and
I know as somebody who has severe social anxiety, it was really hard for me to do so.
yeah.
You have to
Same.
get out of your comfort zone sometimes.
Yeah.
And speaking on that, there's always a time and a place, right? Especially if they haven't stated that their DMs are open, don't talk to them.
Right.
Just don't talk to them.
Mhm.
That's gonna be one way to get them mad at you.
Now, twice a year, if you follow Bones Culture page, I do have submissions open. That happens once a year.
So that is your time.
Stay tuned for that, but don't hit me up, please.
No. Otherwise, feel free to check them out or come up.
Because I've
or come back.
retired from the music industry. You can no longer hire me to mix or to produce your. I'm no longer a producer. I'm now a recording artist who likes to collaborate. I'm
Gotcha.
no longer a producer.
What's that journey been like? Why did you decide to quit?
Oh, I was kidnapped by armed people in LA and held ransom for about 10 days. So that's what did it.
He really does have extravagant stories for days, but they're true.
Yeah, I was at the Rainbow Lounge. Shout out to Rainbow Lounge and Lemmy. I was bothering Lemmy. If you all know Motorhead, he played touchscreen poker every day at the Rainbow Lounge before he passed. Rest in peace. It was maybe I said that at the right time, but it was a funny joke. Maybe who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God? Quick trick question. Lemmy, it's God. That's just a joke, everybody. But he's a wonderful human being who like likes to have Jack Daniels for breakfast, and so I'd bother him but I wanted him to play bass on one of my songs, and so I was lonely. I didn't know anybody in LA really, and I started running my mouth saying all this studio I'm working at has got 28-inch woofers and blah 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 blah. Wrong people less heard, and wrong people they held me at gunpoint.
Wow.
Yeah, there's especially like LA or Chicago. You got to be careful what you say.
Yeah,
Absolutely, and be careful who you brag to.
yeah. And I'm street smart. I'm from the hood, but you just gotta watch yourself.
Speaking of your talents, we have one of your. You call this your magnum opus or your one of your best works. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, it's, as far as like editing goes, it's definitely my magnum opus. It's one of my best production work.
Talk about it. What's Let Go about? What was the process behind that?
It was really just a collaboration. A bunch of different vocalists had sent in work. I sent the beat to a bunch of different artists, and some of them sent in some work, and then end up, I believe it was Don may have dropped the vocals first, and then Circumstantial Saint added his. Then had this wonderful artist from Delaware come up, Calamity. She's an amazing vocalist. She's a professional theater actress. She's known for doing an award-winning version of Shrek.
I thought it was.
Yeah, she played Shrek. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's a very very wonderful human being, and just like always open to whatever. She came by and literally added vocals to like 10 songs in a matter of like 2 hours.
It's crazy when you can get talent like that when it's like one take and it's perfect, and
Yeah.
it's like, all right, that's all I need. Thank you.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you like, nothing's gonna be perfect.
No,
it
of
have to be
course,
like
right.
we go for B plus, and then
Because part of the music or part of the experience is the imperfections. You listen to the old
Right,
music,
exactly.
like
Yeah.
Muddy Waters, and you can hear all the little imperfections with the harmonica
yeah.
or whatever.
Especially these
I
days
love
where everything's so pristine, we do keep a lot of those like ad libs and stuff and different things and mistakes, and I don't just loop the one part where I make the mistakes. I keep a lot of my mistakes in
Sainthood
there.
is circumstantial, so you have to show
Yeah.
pieces of those imperfections as part of what makes the
And
album.
this album, I don't loop any of my. Well, occasionally I loop some maybe bass lines, but most of like my piano lines and my guitar.
There's some imperfections in there,
from
and I love hearing
beginning
it.
to end. It's just like one track, one take.
And that's essentially, for the most part, what I did too.
Yeah,
Like,
so
we
it
recorded
has
mostly
like
in
a
one
lot,
take.
has a very live feel. Like you feel like you're in
Yeah.
the room with us when
Yep.
you listen to it.
So this is Let Go by Circumstantial Saint.
Enjoy.
When I let go, I create space to allow better, to allow something of a higher frequency. Peace and solitude is earned through discernment. Beware of those energy vampires. Let go. Let it go and feel a different vibration. Rush in. A new energy that is reflective of the present person you know yourself to be, to feel. Inhale and say, I release, and then let it go.
Nothing left to let go, but my soul's so deaf I best cope. When I float and go and set sail, the depth of this wave could fill 55 wells. Well known around my way for being a gentleman and my penmanship on Zen and all to guide all my kin and them, but sometimes I gotta get away on this carpet of haze like Aladdin. Wish for more better days, but will the genie end up being as sneaky as they say? Here's some advice to avoid a slap in the face. They can never play if you ain't a part of their game, and when there's nothing to gain, they tend to treat us all as if we're the same. that's fine by me. As long as there's a quarter of the Gideon and a dime by me. Maybe a beignet, need my sticky dough, take mine by 3. And when it's all said and done, when afraid never run, I abide by freeing my mind and raising funds for my sons to having hella fun with it. Can't be barbecuing with these bomb chickens. What T-Mac say, I'm done with it. And now I'm done finished.
You gotta let it go. 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 Let it go. Gotta let it go.
Open up your eye, let the music hypnotize. Fruit that feeds the mind, see the fruit between the lines. The energy will rise, keep the vibe supersized. Red line, sunrise, sunrise. Red line, sunrise. Open up your eye, let the music hypnotize. Fruit that feeds the mind, see the food between the lines. The energy rise, keep the vibe supersized. Red line, sunrise, sunrise. I'm killing it. I am bringing it. I am slaying it. I'm doing it. I am slaying it. I'm doing it. Open up your eye, let the music hypnotize. Fruit that feeds the mind, see the food between the lines. The energy will rise, keep the vibe as supersized. Red light, sunrise, sunrise, sunrise. Let go, let go, let go.
That's Let Go by Circumstantial Saint. Where can people find you at, and where can people subscribe, find all this music at?
First off, please go support independent artists and go to bandcamp.com or the app, search Circumstantial Saint. Buy my album, my
Also,
EPs and singles.
I'll add into the Bandcamp. Bandcamp Friday is when you guys get all of the funds. So
That's
buy
right.
it. Make sure if you go to Bandcamp and buy it on Friday, so you can
Yes.
really help support the local artists on there.
Yes, and we've been trying to drop little gems for people to pick up actually on Fridays as well.
Yeah,
Every Friday
definitely.
we've been trying to do a little something. But we're on everything. As you can see, we're on TikTok right now. I have viewers watching. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and we're getting a YouTube up, so all of our promotional videos and things will be up on the YouTube channel. And we do have a website that is underneath my independent media platform. So you can go to theleonblock.com. And if anyone wants to book us or reach out to us and contact us, you can do so through theleonblock.com or Bones
Facebook.
Culture as well.
Or even stage rush. You guys have stage rush.
Yeah,
as well.
stage rush too. Yeah, we're on stage rush as well. That's
Absolutely. And if you've been enjoying us so far, please be sure to like, follow, subscribe, comment, share with your friends. We will continue going live on Facebook Live, but for the radio, we're going to get you guys back to the music. All right. So, I have some generic questions that I like to ask
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
What is one of the best pieces of advice anyone has ever given you?
One of the best pieces of advice I have been given, I think that has served me well, is to believe in myself. I've been proven time and time again that when I go with my gut and what I truly, wholeheartedly believe versus what other people are suggesting and telling me, when I listen to what I think, what I want, and what I truly feel, and actually do it, I'm so much more happier, and I prove myself right. And I've gotten that little piece of advice. It's very generic advice. I've gotten it from many, many people, and it's true.
But it works. Yeah,
Yes,
that's right.
It really does.
It's always the cliches that people go, but it's
Totally.
there's a
cliches.
reason.
Yeah, I know the cliches always. When I'm younger, I always wanted to try to fight against them.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then now that I'm like 40s, like they are all true.
Yep.
They're all true.
Affirmations and mantras are so simple, but they do the most good.
Yeah, that's why I love like Zen cones because they're so simple.
Very true.
So what about for you, Ben? What's one of the most best pieces of advice you've ever been given? I think you gotta start.
Oh, hit start. That's a good point. That helps. So I don't. I'm one of those people who had to learn the hard way. Everything. If you told me something, I would never follow it. I would probably go against it.
I'm the same way.
I'm so because like I could say it's from like being a bad. Like my dad left when I was younger, and just like not having a dad, which is good and bad. You know, what I mean, when I was younger, I was always sad about it, but then I realized, hey, I didn't have somebody who like shaped me in a weird way. I made myself. You know.
Yeah. I think that's what makes us trendsetters, and
Yeah.
we're just such rebellious people. Why we mesh together so well is like we don't like being controlled. We just do our own thing and we go with the flow. And I think that's why we make such beautiful art together.
Very very true.
So what's one of the best pieces of advice you've given yourself then, or that you would give to others?
Forgive yourself.
Mm.
I mean, like hold yourself to a standard, of course, but like forgive yourself. You know, it's like we're all trying our best. You know, and the best thing I guess is every person you meet, you can learn something from. Whether you like them or not, you can learn from every single person that you meet.
Absolutely.
true.
What about you? For you?
Doing the shadow work, reminding people to look at the
so hard
darkest
to
parts
do.
of themselves because it is really the hardest
hard.
thing to do. Holding
It's
yourself
hard.
accountable is how I would actually frame that, because if you're not looking at the deepest, darkest parts of you and getting the dust off the ceiling fan, how can you have a clean house?
And do it before you do shadow work. Be prepared to make sure you're feeling maybe stronger that week.
Right.
Give yourself some space, some time, and some pampering maybe first, some self care.
I think the best way that I've given advice to people is actually through showing people the things that I go
Yeah.
through in the way that I've
Yeah,
learned it.
right.
I'm not so much of a preachy person. I'm doing this. I'm doing this for myself. You could do it too, but not pushing it on people. Just setting the example.
Right.
Just saying, hey, by the way, I'm doing this. You can do it too.
Yeah, it worked for me. Maybe.
It works for me. Maybe it work. And that's another thing. You don't want to push somebody because not everybody works the same
And
way.
it's never gonna work. You can never force someone to do better or
Right.
better themselves.
Right.
It's this is something a lot of people pleasers or a lot of savior
Yes.
Yes.
they must realize. You must realize
Yeah,
if
save
you
them.
are trying to help somebody, you got to realize it is on them
Yes.
to make the first step. You can give them all the encouragement, all the accountability in the
Yeah.
world.
It's the old saying: you can lead a horse to water,
But you can't make a drink.
Can't make a drink. That's
Yeah,
exactly
it's
right.
a right cliche. Like
Very
I should be in the recovery community and try. People always, well, what can you do to help my friend who's doing? I can't do anything.
They've got to want to.
Yeah,
They've gotta
there's
want to.
nothing you can do but give them love, and
right.
give reserve space for them. And hard love never works. Don't shut your friends
Talk
out
about it.
if they're had an active addiction. I did, and I regret it every day.
The one thing you can do to help somebody Is give
You
them
can
all
set
they-
boundaries. Yes, have
set bound-
boundaries.
Yeah, you can set
yes,
boundaries for sure.
but never
Don't fully.
withhold your love.
Yeah, you can give them encouragement when they do a good thing.
Yes.
You can, even though.
Harm reduction works. Abstinence does not.
Yes, right.
Agree.
So make sure you're there. You can say, good job on this, even if it's something small.
Yeah,
Yes.
very. Hey, you showered today. Good job. you know?
Exactly.
Right.
You combed your hair.
Right. You left your bed today. It's
You got up. You didn't stay in bed. You brushed your teeth. You got dressed today.
Right.
Good job.
and if you have a friend who you know is doing that, why don't you like leave them a plate on their porch? You know, something
Right.
like that. Just
Right.
Don't force them to come out to dinner with you or blah blah. Just leave them a bag of groceries. Maybe give them a new shirt. Who knows? Something small.
It's gonna go a long way, and it's these small little crumbs, these small little steps that's gonna help them build back their confidence, because depression is a real thing, and depression is also a drug, right?
Yes.
It can go on for a very long time, and
Yes.
those people don't even realize
I
most
lo-
times that
I
they're in
lost
it.
myself last year.
Same.
Speaking of dust on the ceiling fan,
Yes.
Mm.
we got that lined up as well.
Yes. Dust on a Ceiling Fan was it
Tri-
actually
trigger warning. The song may
trigger
trigger
warning.
you.
It actually was one of the few songs on. Actually, that's not true. There were a few songs on the album that I conceptualized and said, "I'm going to do this. I don't have the lyrics yet. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I know how I want this to come out."
Mm.
And Dust on a Ceiling Fan was that track where it is featuring. Originally, it was supposed to be a duet between Sean Hogan and I, who's a phenomenal teacher and
Yes.
an activist and poet in his own
Mentor,
right.
yeah.
He has a book. Go out and get it. I forget the name, but phenomenal guy, and an amazing poet. But he's complete. His sound and the way that he speaks is completely different than mine. So I thought that it would be a really great duet. And then we added Sir Dominic Jordan on it for vocals, which I think will throw people off
Well,
because
it's actually the little thing that I was singing. I wasn't very singing it very well, so Chantel didn't want to add it to the song. But Dom came by to we like to partake of medicine together, and then I started humming it, and he ran downstairs to the studio.
Yeah. I think Dust on a Ceiling Fan is such a low vibe, relaxed track in a sense of sound, right?
Yeah.
It's your classic
yeah.
90s hip hop sounding
Yeah.
track, and I think that's what reels people in. And of
I'm
course,
excited to see where this one goes. It drops on the 30th.
right? And I think also, and I intentionally chose a sulky, smooth voice to go on this because
Yeah,
of the
I
nature.
like your voice on this one.
Right, because of the nature of the topics.
And this mic we have used, you can hear the nuance of it. It's $100 mic, it's AT2020 Audio Technica. It is
And I wanted it
fantastic.
that
I
way.
invite everybody to get that mic. I read about it because of what's his name, Phineas of Billie Eilish uses it. I read an interview, so I was like, I'm getting it done. If Billie Eilish sounds good with it, then I'm getting it.
You can literally hear, like, there are certain parts where I make sure that I'm purposely enunciating certain things a certain way that other people, they're like, why are you talking like that? Because
And I
you
didn't
need
use
to
I didn't use
hear
pop screen.
what
I
I'm
didn't use pop
talking
screen.
about and why it's so deep and dark. And
Yeah.
you know, again, it's called Dust on a Ceiling Fan. So people are like, what? Why Dust on a Ceiling Fan? What? Well, it's talking about the darkest, deepest, hardest part
You still have Dust on
of
the
you
Ceiling Fan, though, in
that
the
you've
studio.
gotta, yeah. Right.
That's what I'm
I,
saying.
I,
Yeah,
need, I
that's-
need to clean that shit off one of these days.
Right now, I mean that's part of the thing. It builds up without you realizing, and then you turn on the fan, and whoop, it
Yeah.
all comes down on you.
Oh, it's sick.
That part. So it's,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about like, okay, well, when that fan is off, you want to get it then. You want to get it where you're able to motivate yourself and then go dust it off, because when you turn that fan on, it's going to be way worse.
It's gonna be raining on you,
Exactly.
and you're gonna be overwhelmed and coughing, and it's gonna be a whole mess. And not only solid life advice, but solid metaphorical advice
Yeah.
as well.
That was one of those
100%.
tracks where, like most of the tracks, it took me just flowing and just writing it down really quick as we're recording.
And it was one of my favorite to put together. We put together, right, I believe, right on the spot.
No, this was completely different. I had maybe 4 lines done, and I was like, okay, I know how I want this to be an end.
Yeah.
So I had sent my 4 lines to Sean. It was like, okay, this is what I've got. Write something for me real quick and show me what you've got. He sent me something real quick of what he had lined up, and I was like, all right, this is perfect. So I spent one day just kind of writing some ideas down, and then I think it was like a week or so, because I gave you the idea when we started like I Am Who. Back then when the
Oh,
album
yeah,
was just
that's
getting
right.
started, but it was like 2 weeks maybe before we actually went in and recorded it. I took my
oh yeah, let's
time.
do that in a couple weeks when we're ready.
We scheduled the day to do it with
emotionally
Sean.
to hit
That too, yeah. But that day we ended up recording 3 songs in one
Yeah.
day, which was crazy. But Dust on the Ceiling Fan opened that up, and we didn't even finish Dust on the Ceiling Fan that day. We recorded like a piece of it. We recorded the beat and Sean's
We
part.
changed beats to that one.
No.
Oh.
And then we went back in and I recorded the rest. I had the lyrics down, but I wasn't sure how I was going to speak it yet.
Yeah, I remember that.
But the lyrics themselves, that was the
That
one
was a
song where
powerful
it took me
performance.
days and days to write the words down. That was something that I took my time writing. Every single word was placed, and I took parts out and replaced them with things. It's not always, it's not common for me to do that with
It's a
poetry.
rare one, yeah. Probably only one you actually edited.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. When I write speeches, I edit them a certain way, and it'll take me a little bit of time because it's different. But when I write poetry, I tend to try and have it just flow. This track means a lot to me because of the way that I wrote it. The
lot of
lines,
time,
like I'm actually literally, if you listen to every line and the words that I'm speaking, it's taking you through something, but it's also it means something for me, a lot, and I think that's why it resonates so much with people. Like it is deeply personal to me. It does involve a lot of different topics. Everything that song involves are topics that I've personally dealt with, and there are lines
Some
that
heavy
speak
topics.
to traumatic situations that I've been through that other people are kind of like, wow, I can't believe you said that. Well, yeah, why are you not talking about it? You know, these are dark things that we need to be more open about so that we can move past them. You don't want to just keep a whole bunch of skeletons in your closet.
No.
You know, I have another song that is going to be on the second half of Sainthood is Circumstantial, which the EP is actually on Bandcamp, and you can go check it out. I do have Sainthood is Circumstantial EP. Sainthood is Circumstantial EP. Now, we did a track with J.W. Nilsson of the Nilsson Family Band, and that song is called I Am Not My Addiction. And if you
Yes.
think Dust on a Ceiling Fan is deep,
Right.
it deals with things that triggers.
Yes.
I Am Not My Addiction really goes it takes it to a whole nother level.
We play that one live a lot.
I was gonna say, you guys did that one at Tell Us, too.
Yeah.
I
probably
perform
do
that
it.
a lot. That's at this point
Probably
that
do
has
it tonight.
become
Probably do it tonight. If you see it coming to the
at
house.
this point that's become my baby. That has become the most. I keep it close, and I think that's why I perform it so much.
think
It deeply resonates
touches.
with people.
Hell yeah.
It really tugs at the cord, but it
It's what
wakes
need.
people up.
People
yeah.
need it. We need it. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas it's not as encoded either. Dust on a Ceiling Fan, you have to listen to a few times to get some of the pieces of what I'm saying. I Am Not My Addiction is blunt, but it's over a soft track, and I'm
Right.
like very emotional
Yeah, I love
over it.
that.
So it blends well. Like we try to play on that light and dark aspect. So if the sound of a song is very dark, I try to be light with the way that I sound, not my words, but with the way I sound. And I Am Not My Addiction is kind of the reverse. The sound of the song is very light. I think you called it like elevator music. Or
Yeah, it
something.
is kind of like elevator music.
It does have that kind of vibe, but the way that I speak over it is very emotional and passionate.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very proud of it.
Oh, this is
This is the world premiere.
the world premiere of Dusting on this Ceiling Fan by Circumstantial Saint.
Shh. Don't panic. Crowded closets, cluttered shelves, and hurried hands demand more attention than all the grains of sand. As time passes and new days land, time collects dust on the ceiling fan.
Motion to motion, try to swing with the truths. You know, maybe we cruise through too many grooves. Don't it feel good to spin a new move? See what scatters when the grit gets smooth, gets to the wind.
Time flies or time lies. What do or did you decide? Collections of clutter, hordes of trash. What became the one who was built to last?
How could something that spins so wild, wobbling loose in the highest style, stay so still? This dead skin and risen residue is clinging for dear life. Fingernail scratches, clenched down teeth. You gotta free that shit, clean that shit, and get yourself free.
The first real time I talked to my inner child, he held way too much anger against me. He
gut, these emotions I couldn't understand. See, it was like he spoke a different language, and there was this disconnect. And we didn't know where all this stuff came from, and I couldn't see, only feel. So how am I to know what's real, what's me, and what's the child, what's the pain, and what's the trauma, what's the truth, what's the root? When did I first get abused? When did I first get used? Because only then can you break out that broom and begin to clean up that room. And once you clean up that room, then you can start on the task of mending your broken heart.
Fingernail scratches, clenched down teeth. You gotta free that shit, clean that shit, and get yourself free.
The bitterness, hurt, non-reduction of seduction brought on by molestation in its subliminally insidious but innocent nature, fueled by constant re-traumatization, self-sabotage, neglect, and degradation, because, well, deceiving eyes can make you hide, can make you cry, can make you push your feelings aside, and when all is said and done and that person won't hold your hand, those feelings collect dust on the ceiling fan.
Dust on the ceiling fan.
Fingernail scratches, clenched down teeth. You gotta free that shit, clean that shit, and get yourself free.
When the wounds burn like a frying pan, when time lies like a cheating man, when life stings like a fool in the sand, that shit collects dust on the ceiling fan. When dust falls, it can hurt your eyes. When the dust falls, you won't know when, or will you even see it. Why let the dust fall, reach up and clean it. Of all the things that's hard to do, reaching into the darkest parts of you. The dirty, moldy, dusty, musty crevices that hold no value but take up space. Give it up, throw it away, it holds no place. That child inside is crying to strive high, reach the sky and dream wide, because life is in color and there are no regrets. Don't let the goal get buried in the sand, or let the dream collect dust on the ceiling fan. Reach up, shine brighter, stretch your arms just a little bit higher. Cause you gotta clean that shit, y'all. Fingernail scratches, clenched down teeth, you gotta free that shit, clean that shit, then get
Style stays
yourself
so
free.
still. This dead skin and risen residue is clinging for dear life. Fingernail scratches, clenched down teeth. You gotta free that shit, clean that shit, and get yourself free.
You better clean that shit. Dust on the ceiling fan.
And that was Dust on the Ceiling Fan. Make sure you guys listen to all of this with headphones, by the way.
Yeah,
Quick shout out.
Got some panning around that.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, how has your race affected you throughout your life? What do you do about it?
Wow, yeah, that's a loaded question.
It's a very loaded question.
I was born and raised up until I was 13 in a town where the town itself is almost unanimously black. But I went to a very diverse elementary school, middle school. I was exposed to all different people and cultures. You name it, I was exposed to it. As soon as I went to high school, now I'm pansexual. I came out as queer when I was 12. I didn't care. I was tired of being picked on. I would get into fights like crazy defending myself. My mother decided to move to Wilkes-Barre, upstate Pennsylvania, which is at the time was a completely different kind of environment. I went from being the umpteenth black guy in every class to being the only black person in every class, which was definitely a shock. But I got exposed from that point on the rest of my life. I got exposed to all different kinds of environments. So I've learned to be comfortable in my own skin, but it does not change the fact that I've also been exposed to seeing how I'm treated in different environments. So I'm very mindful of the way that the world sees me, but I try to enforce the way that I see myself on the world instead. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. That's a good answer. So, what do you do to promote your cause, help the cause of
Yeah, so I run an independent media platform that started off the backs of originally the pandemic, saying, okay, I need to do something different with my life since I've been laid off. I'm going to try something. I have nothing left to lose. I'm going to start a podcast and a show geared around BIPOC issues. Well, George Floyd was executed, and social rights, social justice issues, and human rights issues took to the forefront. And I took to the streets, getting heavily involved in activism work, leading marches and protests and rallies and joining different. I'm currently a part of the Party for Socialism and Liberation, but I started working with a number of different organizations, trying to see how I could not only learn and grow, but help my fellow people to learn and grow as well. I was learning a lot about things that I vaguely knew about but didn't really engage in. And it became a mission for me to help connect people through information. We all, as Americans, largely do not like mainstream media. We don't watch it. We don't watch news. We don't care. We know that it's largely not true, or there's some fabrications or
Government
this, that,
run.
and the third. So news is important. It's extremely important. Knowledge is important. And the best way for us to connect, to better understand each other, is to exchange information. So it became my life's mission and my life's work as far as activism to connect people. That is my go-to surefire default way of how I know I'm contributing to this movement. Um, with that being said, yes, I do like to go. I do like to speak at rallies and marches, but the epitome of what the Leon Block Independent Media is for and is about is going to, if this summer actually, for an example, Jalen Walker, who was a man in his 20s, who had just recently lost his wife, never been in trouble in his life, was shot 60 times. 93 bullets were shot at him by Akron, Ohio police. I went out there as they were protesting and marching for a few days, filmed footage of everything that goes on so that people nationwide can see what's happening, because mainstream media may go and interview one person, but they're not going to interview a march. They're not going to walk with people and interview ordinary citizens about how they actually feel, no holds barred, or just raw material saying exactly how they feel. And I ended up spending like 3 weeks out there in total. And I've made so many more connections with families and activists, and I mean, the NAACP. Ohio is in desperate need of attention right now. So Ohio and Minnesota is where our focus is. However, we do cover all human rights issues, environmental issues, anything that mainstream media will not touch, we do. That is my way of um, activism at this point, and also the music as well. The music is a lighthearted counterpart to the media, because not everyone wants
gateway.
to talk about. Yeah, it's a gateway. Not everyone wants to talk about the dark things that go on in the world, and I understand that.
Wrap it up in like
It was saying-
candy.
Yeah,
If you're dealing with politics all the time, it's not a happy life.
it's
Right,
not.
That's true. That's
Which
true.
is why, like, the
It can-
music
it
has
can
become an
consume you.
outlet.
It can consume you. and
It
I-
does.
It did me last year. It burnt me out 2 years ago.
Hey, I know that I look. I get obsessed
Too involved. Yeah, me
with
too.
it.
That's-
I don't really get much sleep
Yeah.
because it is.
You let it really affect you.
Yeah, well, it's something
Hard when
that.
you gotta But hard when you're.
Yeah, because I also see where I have a vision, um, where I'm going to be bigger than Sean King. I'm going to be bigger than MLK. I'm going to be bigger than George Floyd and Ben Crump and Oprah, for the right reasons. I want to connect people in a way that I'm not just making money. I'm not making money for myself at all. If I make money, it's getting put back into communities that actually need it. Yeah, I want to connect the world in a way that is actually beneficial. And I'm not downing Oprah or any other media mogul, but I don't see them putting their money where their mouth is.
Exactly. You have a vision.
That's
of
my intention.
actually
And
helping.
I
the
might
people.
seem stretched and stretched thin right now, but it's all for a greater purpose. And I'll continue to do that because it means that much to me.
Right. Anybody you see in the mainstream has become corporatized. They've become
Right.
profit driven. They haven't.
Mhm.
They've left their community, and that's their they've become tokens
Yes.
of the black community.
Exactly, and I refuse. I refuse. That's the Leon Black Independent Media. Probably we've done it for we've been doing it for 2 years. We intend to stay
Keep on
grassroots.
growing. Yep.
We're going to organically grow in a way that people will be able to fully trust us.
So might be another loaded question, but what are some of the top struggles of the black community today?
Okay, so conquer and divide is a tactic that is used by the powers that be to keep us
Absolutely.
divided. That is the biggest issue I think that we have. Reparations are a big topic, but we were able as a community in past iterations able to scrounge up whatever. We made a whole meal out of lemons. We didn't just make lemonade. We always were able to accumulate wealth and harbor things for ourselves and have all kinds of wealth on our own. But we also, in past iterations, had a deeper, more collective sense of community. We've, as a people, been disenfranchised, and that's what I mean by conquer and divide. We're largely separated. We're not one big unit to demand the kind of things that we actually need, like proper education across the board. Whites, as a group, have 8 times the wealth of blacks on average. And that is the result of compounded investments and incentives to keep conquer and divide strategy. Different groups from coming together and thinking and really knowing that they're all the same. It's a subliminal, I'm better than you, even though I'm going to say that we're equal. It's this kind of subliminal mindset that the powers that be have thrown upon us. It doesn't mean that it is not up to us to do things on our own. I think ultimately it's up to us to dictate how we want to control our lives. Hence why I do what I do so much, connecting all of us, reconnecting all of us so that we can be on the same page, even if we don't agree with one another. We know where we all stand. That's what's important. Our communities are very disenfranchised. Wealth is a big issue. Education is a big issue. Those 3 things. And then also environment, health. Most of our communities are in what people like to call food deserts. I like to call going through food apartheid, because it makes it more realistic and actually makes it more visual for you to understand that we're in desperate need of things, and it's a renewable resource. Food is renewable.
You eat nothing but Little Debbie's and eat stuff from the bodegas in the corner. It ruins your mental health.
But
It's
we
happening,
didn't ask for deserts.
As I say, it's not a method of, because a desert is a geographical location. But that's not what's happening here. It's an apartheid. What you said, if you don't know what happened with apartheid, you should look into it. Absolutely. But it's basically where people are hoarding all the resources away from them, so that way it becomes a desert. It's not just like California's a desert. We know that. No, this is a planned desert.
Thank you. Exactly. And I think that's also where it starts, because if you're eating better, you're thinking better.
Yeah.
If you're thinking better, you're feeling better, you're doing better.
better.
You can have a
More
better
productive.
opportunity to connect with more people. If you're eating sugar and salt all day long and that's
Processed
all you can,
meats and-
right, and that's
what I
all
did
you can
last
eat.
year. I wanted to kill myself every day.
Of course, you're going to be depressed. You're going to be angry, and everyone else around you is going to be depressed and angry. And all you're going to do is fight against one another.
Irritated. Always irritated.
That part.
Irritated.
There's so much we could get into with like the FDA
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
all the
Hey,
otherwise illegal.
Maybe we'll come back
Right.
and talk about that next.
But from a simple standpoint, food, information, and money. Those are the the 3 big things to simplify and answer your question.
Right, of course. Man, that's awesome.
A lot of work.
A lot of
That's
just
all.
gonna
I don't
always-
stop
That's all he
working.
does.
I don't know how to stop.
Work all day. Work all day.
I do. I don't know how to stop, and it's extremely hard. But I will stop when I stop breathing.
Learning. You started something to do like a new thing on Sundays where we're gonna have like community days where we started getting involved with the local Unitarian church, and we're gonna start doing workshops there, and we're gonna have Sundays where we're gonna share on our techniques and just have community.
Yeah.
And recharge ourselves so that we can go out.
Yeah, it's
there
important to practice what we preach as
Yeah.
well.
Absolutely, and
And we're not perfect. We may make mistakes, but we're learning.
That's the
But I
point.
thought it was so odd. Like, believe me, I find it ironic that we made a self-help album too.
there's one thing I've learned over the past 2 years, and it's a misconception that I think a lot of people have. a lot of people think it's a top-down solution.
Right.
It's not. It doesn't
Not
matter
at all.
who the president is. It doesn't matter who whatever the local politician, whatever. It's all from your neighbors,
Neighbors.
up.
That's right.
Neighbors.
That's where
Only way we'll change the world.
Cannot stress that
One
enough.
neighbor at a time. Yeah.
one neighbor at a
One
time
neighborhood at a time.
become. Because do you know your neighbors?
I do.
There you go. Do you
I
know
love
your
my
neighbors?
neighbors.
Say hi to him. Yeah, I'm getting to know him.
I don't know my neighbors. That's a problem.
Yeah.
And most people,
Have a
if
block
I ask
party.
that question,
Block parties.
Yeah.
And,
If-
and
yeah,
we'll perform
right.
at them.
but if you ask the majority of Americans nowadays, do you know your
No,
neighbors?
it's-
They're gonna say
it's
no.
bad. Yeah, it's not our fault. It's designed that way.
Right.
It's designed this way.
You gotta know your neighbors, and how does one get to know their neighbors? That's a great question. It's through community organization. You put on a block party, say, hey,
Yeah.
or even like a garage. Everyone needs to sell stuff.
Yeah, garage sale.
Garage sale, community garage sale. Then you get to go around to other people, meet them, hang out, and
Potlucks, yeah.
it's so simple,
And that's what the Panthers were doing.
That's right. That's right.
but it's also so
We
scary.
need to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely.
You gotta get out of your comfort zone, and
It's very scary, but it's so rewarding. Once you start like say hi to your neighbors, they'll look at you funny. It's okay. Next day, say hi to them again. Then eventually
They'll
be
give you a
asking
nod, right?
Right. Next thing you know, you're chatting. Before you know it, they're coming to your funeral.
Right.
and that's where change happens. You can't change from top down never works. And oftentimes when it does work, it's because they're forcing it on
Yeah.
everybody, and that's a problem.
They co-opt the change that's already happening.
Yeah, exactly. And then become dictators, and then become the worst people that you've ever seen in history.
Oh yeah.
From bottom up, it becomes organic. Everyone's on the same page. You can have this. You can relearn civil discourse in a healthy way, because that's another thing that we're missing a lot of nowadays is civil
Yes.
discourse.
Yes.
We don't know how to meet with somebody who's on a
Nuance,
completely
right.
different side of us.
That really needs to happen.
And
Anytime.
hate is not gonna make the way for unity at all.
'Cause we all same thing. We all want to be loved and have families. Like both sides. You know, we all want the same thing. So we need to find a way to do that. You know, to help
It starts with having conversations. Just talk to people.
over
Yeah.
profits. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you might think, oh, I would never talk to a conservative, or I would never talk to a socialist, I would never talk to whoever, talk to them. Just and you
more,
don't have
more common
to.
than you think.
It is more common than you think.
We're not stuck with these ideologies. Ideologies and groups, they just separate us. You know.
And that's another
I
part of the
might-
divide and conquer
yeah,
strategy that
yes.
we're talking
Don't
about.
say, oh, I'm a conservative, I'm a liberal, I'm a socialist. I don't take labels because we are none of those things. We all
I'm Corey.
we all
I'm
right,
circumstantial saint.
shades of gray of things, and we have more. You know, these labels divide us.
And everyone, here's another thing: keep an open mind about it as well. You can see, these people are the way they are because they grew up a certain way.
Right.
If you read any interview with a socialist or with a fascist or with a national Nazi member, you can see the line of progression that got them to.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not as if one day they woke up and I want to be evil.
Right.
Right. It's the 1350 conversation, or it's the ignorance of the systemic racism that's been happening, or the
It's just ignorance,
propagation.
yeah.
propaganda.
Ignorance, yeah, they're not.
Right.
Like I spent some time in Iowa. I got my nose broken for playing a Bob Marley song on the jukebox because these people did, you know, they're not exposed to these things, you know, and not to like condone it or like to give them a pass because you know it's up to you to take what you're raised with and make your own decisions. But still, it's just what people are exposed to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do our part to try to educate people and to expose them to more things and like everything. And like the more we talk about it, like what's good these days, we're having more conversations and there's things like podcasts that are having, you know, conversations about race and mental health and
That's another thing is like everyone's saying, oh, there's too many podcasts, and no,
No.
we don't. We need more.
Yeah.
We don't have enough. People, the fact that so
Mainstream
many
media
podcasts
wants
are
that
around,
doesn't want podcasts around.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we need more people talking. I think it's great.
Yeah.
You're right. You're so right.
Back in the day when there was only 3 channels, you got one opinion, and it
Right.
was a filtered through opinion that everyone had on. Now we talk about there's a lot
But
of
there were a lot of ham radio things. and
yeah, of
short-term-
course, but
it's kind of like the new version of that.
but the
We need that too. So
absolutely. But the thing is that people talk about broken realities or disengaged realities. No, it's not. That's not the case. It's that
Right.
there are multiple different opinions, and there are multiple different realities happening
Yeah.
together,
Exactly.
and we need to work together to build a stronger community. Because these corporate conglomerates,
Not gonna do it.
if you,
They
you
want to keep us apart.
I was gonna say, if you look at who owns them, same
Yes.
people.
Yep.
Yes.
Same people.
Yep.
It's all controlled opposition, and it's all this, and that, and it is built to sustain itself. It's called the establishment for a reason.
Mhm. Here we
Amen.
go. Talk
Amen.
about
Amen.
it.
So, people will say, "Yeah, the market is oversaturated." Yeah, that's. But
Sure.
is that a problem, or is that an
It'll
opportunity
work itself
to?
out, right?
Yeah, is that an opportunity to connect with that other podcast that does something similar to you? Does that give them an opportunity to cross pollinate, to become
Yes.
Right.
Well, that's the most important tool we have as
Yeah.
independent media is cross promotion. That is our greatest tool.
Couldn't agree more.
Use it.
and it's not a competition thing, because we're all
Right.
trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, we're not
Yep.
competing.
Some people are gonna like the way other people do it more than you, and that's totally fine. But other people are gonna like the way you do it more than
Exactly.
anything else.
If you,
And
if you keep this consistently, you'll find someone who resonates with. You know?
Absolutely. And the goal is to bring community together. There isn't a conglomerate. There shouldn't be a conglomerate. There shouldn't be a top-down way of doing things. It should be a grassroots community organized thing. And someone might say that's socialist. That doesn't. That's not necessarily a bad thing with people working together.
Right.
Granted, there are other conversations about past socialist
Right.
things, but
Oh yeah.
but having a community work together, whether you're a conservative, liberal, progressive, whatever, is the way to grow yourselves economically, to grow yourselves socially, to grow yourselves mentally, to grow yourselves
Yes.
physically.
Couldn't agree more.
Because
Yeah. When I had terrible mental health this year. I had terrible mental health, and I was trying all these different ways to beat mental health. I was going to therapy. I was, affirmations. I had binaural beats. Exercising. I was making my music, but I was still missing something. It wasn't until I added community back that I became healthy.
we are a social species,
Yes. Yes.
and we are a community-orientated species. If
Indeed.
you don't have some sort of community, even if it's one
Anything.
other friend,
A book club, one book club,
Right.
or just something, a knitting club. You get online and you play video games with your friends. Like
Even
some kind
if
of
you
group.
just go to, you have no interaction with anyone but the person at the bodega around the corner
Right.
from you every day, and you speak to her and she
Yeah,
speaks
say
to
hi.
you,
Yeah,
and that's how you're
exactly.
doing. That is interaction.
yes, being around other people, even if you're not socially engaged. Because I know as an introvert, it is hard for me to go to like an open mic, and people will see me on my phone all the time, but I'm there with people, and
Yeah.
it's the actual going out that's the hardest part.
Yeah,
Even
it is hard. Yeah.
It is so hard.
Like I was a hermit last year and I refused to go out, but it's one
Well, I was a
event at a
hermit
time.
this year.
Yeah,
I got
one event, yeah, me too.
arrested and sat in jail for a few hours, and it triggered some things, and I would not go outside for the better half of 2 months. And here I am, here and
Out every day almost.
out
now.
every day almost, and going to open mics.
But it's a
and-
one thing at a time. We
That
did one.
part.
We did one event one month. Then we did 2 events that month. Then we did one event a week, and now
I used to be the shyest person. You could ask my family; they're astounded at the things that I do now because,
Yes.
and it took ways to get there, but to them it's just like overnight, like oh my goodness, and I'm like no,
that was this whole process.
is
it was a process. Yeah,
It is so funny when one of my high school friends sees what I'm doing now. They're like,
That's awesome.
"You didn't
Right.
even talk at all."
And now you're on a talk show.
Same.
My parents will watch this, and they were like,
That's awesome.
"You're
Proud.
so mature. You are professional, and you have your life. You're kind of organized now." Because that was never the case before. I was always all over the place, last
same.
minute stuff.
Yep, me
And
too.
now I'm planned out,
Right. That's
and
amazing. man.
it's takes small steps, and it's the same concept
It's just
of
be
putting
consistent.
your shirt on, right?
Be
That's it.
consistent.
Yep.
Don't about where you can shoot. Just start small.
Right.
And then you'll be surprised where you get in a month, then 2
Yeah.
months.
And don't be upset if you relapse.
No, please don't. Because
Continue
that is the
anyway.
biggest thing. It's so many things. It's like it's what
Keep going.
I hate about the recovery community. It's like, it's like we should just shun these people who relapse, or like anything, whether it be like your social anxiety, or it might be
Keep
your
encouraging.
addiction, or your
As I say, if anything, when somebody
It's a important
relapses,
part of it.
that's the time to wrap your arms around them
Yeah.
and bring them back.
exactly.
You got this.
You got
You
this.
can do this. Yes.
And it it might be a relapse of one day, it might be a relapse of 1 week or a month. You gotta still keep them because it's a journey. People don't realize, and we live in a culture of instant gratification. We got to invest in ourselves, and that takes a lot more time than any of us have the patience for.
Well, that is open for my DMs. If you don't feel like getting out of bed, you need someone to encourage you, and you want to encouragement on how to draw, or you haven't painted in a while, or you haven't made a song in a while, you can message me. Gladly, I will give you encouragement. I'll add you to my list.
Or go listen to my album.
Yes.
That's another. Yeah, well, I mean that's so true. Here's something I've been doing. I've been going through a rough 2 years through breakup, through just random ish happening that I don't have control over.
Us too.
And that's gonna happen in life no matter what.
Yeah.
Life is a roller coaster. There is no happiness without sadness.
Yeah.
And
It's not like our lives are great every day, or even parts of the day are horrible. It's just how you deal with the situation.
right. And find out your way of dealing, whether it be humor, whether it be art, whether it be music, whether it be whatever, whether it be reading,
Cooking, gardening,
gardening, whatever. Find your happy place. And especially with music, because music is typically something everybody likes. Find 5 to 10 songs that no matter what, if you listen to, it's a bop and
Yeah.
it's a good time. Find those 10 songs. Don't let them play whenever you're not feeling anything because it won't mean anything.
Right.
Right? Save those songs for those days when you're just not feeling like getting up. And then you put on Eye of the Tiger and like, okay, now I'm ready to go. Or you put on the Final Countdown. Or you put on a show tune. Or you put
Maybe
on classical music. Whatever it is
Yeah.
for you.
makes you eat or change your clothes, or maybe even go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Put your song on and go for a walk. It's amazing what a walk will do.
Absolutely.
Change your whole day.
Hey, Calamity. Shout out to Calamity, who's
Oh,
featured
yeah.
on Circumstantial
Yeah,
Saint
she's-
debut album.
She's on as much as Dom is.
Yeah.
So, on to our next question.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest mistakes that you have made or you've seen other people make? How can we curb that for the future generations?
The biggest mistake I have seen people make is die and not
Rebirth.
not
Oh.
put all of what is in their brain, in their head, all their thoughts, ideas, and words and everything out for the world to. We have lost who knows how many inventions.
Oh, you mean actually death?
Yeah, who knows how many inventions have been lost, or how many world class,
music.
yeah, or in medicines or cures have been lost because someone was afraid to put that idea out there because someone else told them that they shouldn't speak about it.
Mm-hmm. You see all these posthumous albums of like Michael Jackson or
Right.
or whatever have you. That's just the only one that came to my mind at the
Mhm.
moment. But here's another thing. Always record yourself. I wanted to mention this when we were
Yes.
talking about writing. Always record yourself. The average memory of a human being is 7 seconds, and it's often less.
Mhm.
You'll play something on the piano or you'll say a verse and you're like, ooh,
Yeah.
and then you will instantly forget it. Whenever you're doing something
You
creative,
got memos in our pockets now all the time. It's
You
just-
got- yeah,
No
exactly.
excuse these days.
there is no excuse. Whenever you're messing around, even if you're trying to figure out a line, right, or you're even trying to figure out a melody,
Yeah.
record that because
The happy accents are the best things. The
yeah,
things that you find trying to stuff.
Seriously, I get my best ideas in the bathroom, whether I'm taking a shower or a bath or I'm cutting my hair.
all in the inconvenient places.
Yes. But you remember, like, when you have that in your brain, then go write it down.
Yeah.
Go record it because you may not get that back. And, like, those are the
I
best
always
ideas.
get my best when I'm riding my bike around town,
Ah.
or even just walking.
And after
And,
you,
yeah, luckily I'm in the habit of I use my phone to make. I live by reminders.
Yeah.
To remind myself to do things, lists, and voice memos are just.
and
I got thousands of them.
that's
Yeah,
another
same.
thing. If you're looking to organize your life, calendars are very
Yes.
helpful.
To do
Very
lists,
helpful.
Yeah.
Yes.
To-do lists.
Reminders, daily reminders. I get one every 10 minutes. Oh, do this, do that. Email this, call this person. You know,
Especially as a neurodivergent person, that's probably really helpful because
I live by it.
I know that I have ADHD as well, or I don't know if you have ADHD, but I have ADHD,
Yeah.
Same.
and I'll do one thing and then I will go to Facebook to check. So I'm making like a Canva thing for the story podcast, right? And I'm like, oh, when am I gonna have that person on? So I go to my phone to check my calendar, but instead I go to Facebook, right? Or I
Yep,
go to
yep.
TikTok, or go to whatever,
All
and
the
then
Next thing you know, we get tangent.
yep, and then you go on a tangent, and
Yep.
all of a sudden, 30 minutes go by, and
What was I
what was I doing?
doing?
Right,
All
right,
the
right.
time. Yep.
And then I look at the Canva, like, oh, I'm doing that, and then
Yep.
the same process will happen
Yep.
again.
See, I try to backtrack when that happens to me, like reverse my steps, and it doesn't always work, but
That's the idea.
it does help.
Do we go one step before? Yeah.
Calendars are very helpful.
Yes.
So, did you ever get a chance to answer that? What was the biggest mistakes that you have made or you've seen people make, and how can we curb
I've
that?
made all kinds of mistakes. I've been in jail. I did a year in jail. I'm a thief, liar, robbed places. I've burglarized places. I've stolen cars. I've attacked police stations. I've done a lot of
He's
things.
been playing
So
GTA 5.
I have mistakes. I just sinned. I'm about to sin again. Yeah, for real. It should be like for fun. In my 20s, I would hunt policemen down and fight them, or I would go to bars and beat up like jocks.
Why?
That's pretty
Because
interesting.
I was angry my dad left me.
Okay,
I was very violent.
Even more so to say,
it's valid.
don't let your feelings consume you,
Right.
and have your outlet to, whether it be music, whether it be great. Drumming is a really great way to get your, because you're hitting stuff.
It wasn't
and
really
making
until
noise.
like recently, like say 5 years ago, where I really started to apply like I took a vow of nonviolence and I started my discovery. I started working on myself, started going to therapy, started all that stuff.
See, we have a common thing here. Like I'm talking about it, but you actually did it. Was like letting everything in here out. Just releasing to live a normal life, or not normal, but just
Yeah.
in your purpose. you
Right.
know?
Yeah. But live your purpose. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is one of the most memorable lessons you've learned thus far?
I got go when I learned in jail.
In regards to music, in regards to life itself?
Well, I guess the best thing is just be open to like be flexible. Like if you might have an idea for something, and someone might suggest, instead of like being defensive and shut it down, just entertain it. You'd be surprised what happens.
Collaboration is the human spirit.
And it's hard for me. Like I'm a person who prefers to be by myself. Like I can be perfectly content by myself all day long, entertain myself. I don't need anybody else. And I get that way for some years. But every couple of years, I'd like to collaborate. It gets me out of my comfort zone, and like I like to make music with myself, and so it's nice to like have other input and things, and it's so when you get out of your comfort zone, you will always be rewarded.
Absolutely.
That's true. You grow as
You-
a person.
Yes.
You're gonna learn new things for better or for worse.
Right.
It's hard. Trust. It's hard. It's really hard. But
Especially if it's your baby that you're collaborating
Just-
with, right?
set your mind to just be open to it when you do it, and just be like, okay, I'm gonna be open to new things, and just
I would agree with that. Just going with the flow and being vulnerable and being open to what the universe wants to bring my way, and not like being resistant to it is probably
being in
the-
control all the time.
Right.
Don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah, that's the
Right.
most important thing. Sense of humor is very important. It's like self-deprecation is my most endearing. Like I like people that who.
But it's a poison to yourself. It's a poison
Yes.
that you are enacting on your own body
is.
when you do that. And
Yes.
it's a habit because we all do. Oh, I'm such an idiot, or FML, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
stop, John.
Words are
Not
powerful.
FML.
Yeah,
They are
be
very
careful, be careful how you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And try affirmations. Like in the morning, that's what I do. It. But in the morning, I wake up and I'm just like angry. Ask my friends. I'm grumpy as hell.
Oh, me too. I
in the
woke up this morning
I am
angry.
a demon in the morning. But like I start.
woke up and chose
Yep,
violence.
I get coffee and I start. Like actively make your brain. Hey, like think positive things.
What is one thing that you know now in regards to your career that you wish you had known when you first started? Besides all the things we've mentioned so far.
That being an affirmations poet musician would be a real thing.
Job,
That
right?
it's
Yeah.
a viable job. It's something that people actually want. Like growing up, I always loved music and I always knew that I would be a recording artist, but I didn't know how. I'm like, I rapped and I sang, but not the best out of anyone. And I'm just like, how would I do this? I could definitely be a songwriter, but I don't want to be a songwriter. not for anybody else, you know. So I think for me, just again believing in myself and
Yeah,
realizing what
believe
I
yourself.
actually could be. All these things that I am now, I envisioned for myself as a child, but never had the
Confidence.
confidence to say like I could actually do that.
Yeah, that's what I wish I work with people who like are fine and that they've always wanted to do stuff, and it's always fun to
I think we were talking about this the other day. Actually, is that when you go through traumatic situations, as a child, it can help push away confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
And I think like us, maybe the pandemic in 2020 really changed the way that everyone looked at their own lives.
Yeah.
And I
Looked
think
at
for
each
us,
other.
We're like,
yes, and each other.
we're like
And
that, how do I want to live? Like what is the system?
how do I
really
find
the system
purpose
is
in my
obviously
life?
broken. Might as well live for myself.
Right. And we had nothing left to lose. So many of
Right.
us around each other were
What the hell is-
dying. It's like, well, I could die tomorrow. I'm just gonna go follow my dreams. And here we are 2 years later. At least for me, you've
Making
been
it work.
following your dreams in a sense, but
Yeah,
this is
because,
different for you
like,
now,
every,
right?
every time I like say reach a good height or get some recognition or work with a famous person, then I always sabotage it. I would get drunk and make a fool of myself at the party or burn bridges or ghost people then they're not show up at sessions, not show up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Get arrested.
Yeah, I was gonna say the number one thing is that I would wish I had known was being professional, whether in regards to clothing, appearance, brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, right?
Yeah.
Being a workable person, not being like a social, because I'm an introvert to all heck and back, right? But knowing how to socialize correctly. There is a good way to
Right,
socialize,
right.
and there's a very bad
Yeah.
way to socialize.
It's a learn process. Yeah, how to do professional chit chat when you're at social events,
And when to know when to stop a conversation, right?
Right.
Absolutely,
Right.
because you can, if you're in the presence of one of the most famous top artists or whatever, it's so easy to go on forever and ever and ever. But you got to realize that the other person has time as well
Yeah.
and needs time as well.
Yeah.
So figuring out what you're gonna say, what you need to say, and leaving
Oh,
it
and
at
also
that.
nothing like I tell new artists, send the email, just send it. Like
Oh my gosh, yes.
my entire life, I just had I had an idea. I'm like, I'm not gonna send that to that
No one
person.
really cares.
Just
Just
send
do
it.
it.
You'd be surprised how many respond.
It's the same old cliche. You
Like
miss
I
100%
said,
of the
don't send me
shots.
demos, but hey, maybe one day I'll be feeling nice.
Calamity, yeah, we will send you info on where to get this podcast from. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
But for anyone watching, it is The Story. You can check it out on social media. It's on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Check it out.
But my anxiety is starting to increase. Be possible to.
Yeah, I got one more question.
Cool.
One last question. What is one of the funniest things that ever happened on a gig? Or worse?
But the yelling at the lady.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. So
it's the first the debut gig.
Yeah. So for me, it was a very big learning experience being out on the street and performing my music. Ben was there, and we had another artist there.
First time playing piano my entire career.
It was pretty dope. We were in front of Nate's sandwich shop, and I had made
Very nice. Shout out to Nate's.
I made a little altar that I put on the stairs, and
They were closed. They closed.
but I didn't think that there were
yeah,
apartment
people.
buildings upstairs. We didn't think about that, and we saw a couple people like step over it and walk up. Cool. They didn't say anything. They weren't bothered. They're going up to their apartment. It's not like they're coming up and down. So we didn't think about moving it. Well, there was this older woman who came down, and she was very, very nasty with the way that she demanded that it be moved. And Ben's partner went and politely moved it, but she continued to still be rude towards her.
Rude to her. Say nasty things.
Again, we ignored it. We moved the altar and just let it
In the
go.
middle of performing because
And she left. Maybe she went to go shop around the corner or something. She came back.
she was watching us be kind of started to see her dance to our music, and I said, nope, this isn't for you. This isn't for you. And I usually am not that kind of person, but because she thought she could just get away with being rude to somebody
Older
else.
people
Take
will
advantage
just
of it.
inspect things because they may not understand. Or like, well, what's this? And she's all in the business. And he decided to check her. What you said wasn't really nice, lady. God doesn't like ugly, and you should watch yourself. Um, for me, it was kind of like I'm just like Ben, shut up. Shut up! I don't know who this woman
Right.
might be one of those people who likes to call the cops on
yeah,
stuff
that's
or,
what I was hoping for,
or
too.
complain. I'm like,
Yeah.
shut
Well,
up.
I guarantee
But-
if you went inside and called the police, they're probably like, oh, well, ma'am,
But
the city hires them to perform, so.
it's one of those moments sometimes where like you have to say your piece, and I have to learn. I'm learning to stick up for myself and like not just be a people pleaser. So it was one of those situations where like at the time I was like, oh my god, this is I can't do this. This is embarrassing. But then after like the next day, I woke up and it was in my head, and I just bust out laughing about it. Because looking back, like if I was an innocent
She
bystander or
was
something,
shocked. So
I would have
First
bust
time,
out laughing.
first time anyone checked her in a long time.
I'm sure. No one.
She got used to like being grumpy and everyone's like cat-towing around her.
She was one of
tiptoeing around
those
her.
people. Perfect way. She was like
Mean.
Scrooge.
Yeah.
Seriously, like Scrooge. Cruella
Spitting
Deville.
out hatred all over the place.
Yeah.
Wasn't having that.
So she deserved.
Not my vicinity.
She deserved that accountability. I will say that.
Isn't that the way it is with those things? The worst thing that could ever happen to you in the moment, but you think back and it's like,
It wasn't
that
so
was
bad. It was
Right,
funny,
right.
right?
well, if you want to follow them, where can people find you at?
For Circumstantial Saint and Ben Oaks, you can find us on Bones Culture and theleonblock.com. For Circumstantial Saint, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I will have YouTube up with tons of footage very soon. And you can find our album on bandcamp.com, whether it's bandcamp.com or the app.
Deezer's cool.
Deezer, and we're on. I have singles on all platforms, but the album is
Bandcamp.
available for
You
sale
can download
and
it on
stream
Bandcamp. And
on
Put
Bandcamp.
it on your phones. Put it on your
Please go ahead and support independent artists. We love it.
And if you want to follow us, or Ben Oaks, so you're also on Spotify, all that jazz as well.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. But my hip hop name is Ben Oaks, BENOAKS, all one word. But I'm also known as Benjamin Oaks on all the social medias at Benjamin Oaks.
We have all that link tree or links them in the description as well. If you want to follow me, you can search us up anywhere. The Story
do.
Corey Rosen, CORYROSEN. We're on TikTok, The Story Podcast, Instagram, _story_podcast, because I can't make everything the same thing.
Right.
On Facebook, Spotify, Apple, everywhere. We're gonna get a website up soon because that is necessary. I've learned.
No better podcast to make our debut on. Thank you for having us for real.
Thank
Yeah,
you
man.
so much.
And see you tonight. Well, I'm sure we'll be jamming together. I'll have you play piano on some blues later.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We're gonna be at Tellus 360 tonight. That is
It's the hub.
hub in the city. If you want to get to meet anybody who's anybody around here, go to Tellus 360 tonight. Sign up start at 6:30, and I think the music starts at 7. A good friend of the podcast, Corey Paternoster, is hosting tonight.
He's on the album too. He plays drums
Yes.
on songs.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
Featured
he
on my
does.
songboard from
Yes,
the
he
plane.
does.
Yeah.
awesome. Well, if you guys want to check out all of our future events and guests, please go to facebook.com/The Story Corey Rosen. This Friday, we have Grammy Award-winning singer Karen Blanchard. We won't be back until next Friday after that. With all that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you guys later. Bye.